Jimmy Butler has turned down a 4-year, $111 million offer sheet from the Timberwolves, adding to the speculation that he wants out of Minnesota. It's interesting because Jimmy Butler wasn't really a talked about player the past couple months when it comes to trades and free agency next offseason. You know, I think a decent amount of people just kind of assumed that he was fine in Minnesota for some reason, but it only took like a season to realize that Minnesota wasn't the destination that many thought they were. For one, we thought it was a great destination for him because he was going to get reunited with his former coach, Tom Thibodeau, now with more help than ever. Also, a part of what made Minnesota intriguing was that many thought that it would relieve a lot of pressure from Jimmy Butler so he doesn't have to be the man anymore. You know, we thought that he was going to be like a second or third option as Minnesota's young stars and Cat and Andrew Wiggins would finally take that leap and lead them to the playoffs. It turns out that's not the case. Karl Anthony Towns was still a great offensive player, but his defense was and still is extremely suspect. In the playoffs, if you look at his numbers, they looked fine to the naked eye, but when you consider that his points per game went down by like 6 points a game from the regular season, and his efficiency went down nearly 8%, and he simply got outplayed by Clint Capella, who put up 16 points, 14 rebounds, 2 blocks on nearly 70% shooting from the field. Very disappointing from a guy who, before Jimmy came, people were thinking that he had the potential to be the best player in the league and was one of the most unstoppable players in the league. Like, this was the guy we were talking about. And then Andrew Wiggins. Look, I'm pretty much notorious now for being the Andrew Wiggins hater, which is the weirdest title to have, mind you. Like, you're the Andrew Wiggins hater, like, what the hell? But again, many people thought he was going to take another leap this year, and with Butler coming in, his points per game should go down, but his efficiency, defense, and playmaking ability should make a stride. Yeah, well, none of that happened. This is a guy who literally put up numbers that were nearly identical to his rookie season and did not and has not improved on any major aspect of his game. And when Butler went down, the fact that the Timberwolves went from a 3 seed in the conference to almost missing the playoffs because these two did not know how to lead a team without him is very alarming. However, despite saying all of this, and this will kind of segue into my first destination for him, don't rule out the possibility of Butler simply re-signing. Yes, I know he did decline the offer sheet, but similar to Kyrie Irving's case in Boston, it's just the smart thing to do whether or not you love the team or not. $110 million is a lot to turn down, don't get me wrong. However, next summer, when he hits free agency, he can get so much more money that you would be dumb not to decline the extension, because next season, the Timberwolves can offer him a 5-year, $187 million deal. Or he could sign elsewhere and get up to a 4-year, $140 million deal. $110 million is a lot, right? And I mean, it's a lot of money. Like, Jimmy, if you're watching this, man, just, you know what I'm saying? Just slide over just $500K so I can pay for college and rent for like the next 3 to 4 years. And, you know, I'll make a why Jimmy Butler is the best player in the league video in a second. But if you can get nearly $80 million more next offseason, at the very least around $20 to $30 million more in your bank account, do it. Add that to along with, you know, maybe Cat and Wiggins do take that leap that we want them to make, then maybe he does re-sign with Minnesota. However, on the chance that Butler does not want to be on the Timberwolves, here are 4 other destinations Butler could end up in, whether it be through a trade before the trade deadline or free agency next offseason. The New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are probably the most rumored destination out there because of the reports that Kyrie and Butler are trying to find a way to team up in the East in the near future, if possible. And one of the scenarios being thrown around out there is the New York Knicks. Kyrie has stated before that he's interested in playing with the Knicks, and the Knicks are trying to clear up enough cap space to sign 2 max free agents next offseason, similar to what the Lakers did last season in preparation for this offseason, where they got LeBron James. And with Kyrie and Jimmy Butler being unrestricted free agents next offseason, they could both sign there and team up with Porzingis. Kevin Knox could also be a huge draw in this scenario, depending on how he plays and what his potential looks like, in a squad featuring Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler, Kristaps Porzingis, Kevin Knox, and the likes of Tim Hardaway Jr., Enes Kanter, and Frank Ntilikina as a supporting cast. I mean, that could be pretty scary. The Boston Celtics. The other side of the coin is the Boston Celtics. As a side note, like, I feel so bad because every single time I do a destination for a star video, the Celtics always manage to make my list, and then people view me as this biased ass, the Celtics about to get everyone dick rider. And the reality is, the reason Danny Ainge has stockpiled the amount of assets that he has is so that he can be in the discussion for every single star on the trade market. So don't blame me, blame Danny Ainge. Also, follow your boy on Instagram, you know what I'm saying? You know, we're trying to get this account to 10K, and it's one of the fastest and best ways to know when the latest podcast release, you know, aside from subscribing. And also, I just post some good shit on there, so check it out, B-Souls on IG. But anyways, if Kyrie and Butler do want to team up, they could do it in Boston. Now, obviously, Boston has no cap space to sign him in free agency. However, they do have some pieces they could trade in order to get Butler. However, it is definitely a risk for the Celtics, as they would probably have to give up Jaylen Brown. As for one, that's probably what the Timberwolves are asking for. Two, even if they didn't ask for Brown, they would have too much of a logjam in the wing position with Butler, Brown, Hayward, and Tatum. And three, they would be giving up a 21-year-old with extremely high upside that could be the cornerstone of this franchise alongside Jason Tatum on some, you know, some Pippen and MJ shit, for a guy that's about to turn 29 2 months from now and will probably ask for a max, meaning you'd be paying him upwards of $35 million a year at the age of 33. Definitely a risk for the Celtics. Now, on the bright side, however, it does pretty much assure you that Kyrie's gonna re-sign, as he would be playing with the rumored player he wants to play with. So you're kind of knocking two birds with one stone, and it also increases your chances of winning in the immediate future, as you can already make a case that the Celtics are poised to compete and possibly beat the Warriors next year if they're fully healthy. And then you replace Jaylen Brown with a more polished player in Jimmy Butler, and I think, you know what, they could legitimately beat the Warriors, the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers have grown into a similar situation to the Celtics in the sense that they've officially, realistically, reinserted themselves in every conversation regarding a star player, as they have cap space to work with again next year, alongside young assets to trade if anything comes up. With LeBron signing there, I do believe there is pressure and expectations that they are going to find another star one way or another. And while many people are talking about Kawhi Leonard, and rightfully so, Jimmy Butler could be the closest thing to what people are envisioning with Kawhi. Like Kawhi, Jimmy Butler is a terrific defender, a good scorer, can spread the floor and facilitate. Look, I'm not saying Jimmy Butler is on Kawhi's level, but what I am saying is that he brings similar aspects to the team, albeit at a lesser level. As far as age, there's only a 2-year gap between them, so it's not that far off. They could trade for him near the trade deadline if he's cheap and the Lakers look like they have a chance in the playoffs, or they could wait until the offseason and try to get him that way. The New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans are my sleeper pick for Butler. I believe Anthony Davis would do extremely well paired up with a two-way wing like Butler, who can also facilitate to a degree, and I think the Pelicans are desperate enough to do anything to convince AD to stay with the team, whether or not it doesn't actually get them a championship, or, you know, it's just a short-term solution. A team consisting of Jrue Holiday, Jimmy Butler, and Anthony Davis could be one of, if not the best defensive teams in the league, and I think it honestly could be a move that propels them into the top 4, even in the West. Now, the Pelican situation is not the prettiest, but they could do a deal of something like Nikola Mirotic, you know, since Tibbs loves his former Bulls players, and Etwan Moore for Butler. But with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Again, go ahead and follow your boy on Instagram. I'm gonna be uploading more frequently now because the growth on this channel has been like Andrew Wiggins stagnant. So I'm gonna need to step it up, improve my game, and take initiative. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I'm out. Peace. The notion of parody is ridiculous. The fact that this notion that it never existed is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You're telling me in 06 you knew that the Miami were gonna win the championship? Fuck out of here. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You're telling me going to 07 you knew the Spurs were gonna win the championship, that they weren't gonna have any competition? No, you didn't. Oh wait, yeah, a lot of, you know, that was probably the closest thing to what we have right now in the 2000s. You know what I'm saying? Ray Allen, Big Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett on one team. That's the outright favorite. Even 2009, Again, they were the favorites coming into the season, but people were like, all right, Kobe took them to 6. They're back for another year. They're healthier. Maybe they could be